You reach for that bag of brown sugar to bake cookies. But have you ever wondered what journey those golden crystals took to reach your kitchen? We're talking about a $22 billion industry that processes over 190 million tons of sugar annually. And today we're going behind the factory walls to uncover the fascinating process of how brown sugar is actually made. Welcome to Process Titan. Please, if you are new here, the subscribe button for more. Most people think brown sugar is just white sugar with some color added. But the reality is far more complex and interesting. From ancient sugarcane fields to modern industrial facilities, brown sugar has a story that spans thousands of years and involves some seriously impressive machinery. By the end of this video, you'll never look at that brown sugar the same way again. Let's start at the very beginning. Brown sugar didn't just appear in factories overnight. This sweet substance has roots that stretch back to ancient India, where people first discovered they could crush sugarcane and boil it down to create a sweet syrup. When that syrup crystallized, they had their first taste of what we now recognize as raw sugar. This wasn't the refined white crystals we know today, but a darker, more complex sweetener that retained much of its natural character. The knowledge spread like wildfire across Asia and the Middle East, carried by traders along ancient routes. When Arabs brought these sugar-making techniques to Europe, it was still considered a rare and expensive luxury. But everything changed during the colonial era. European powers established massive sugar plantations across the Caribbean and South America, producing sugar on an unprecedented scale. Most of this sugar was unrefined and dark, packed with natural molasses, essentially what we'd recognize as early brown sugar. Steam engines replaced animal power, and revolutionary machines like vacuum pans and centrifuges allowed factories to produce sugar faster and more efficiently than ever before. By the 1800s, European scientists had even figured out how to extract sugar from beets, making production possible in colder climates. This innovation spread sugar production across continents, but regardless of location, it all started with one crucial element: the crop itself. Today's brown sugar production begins with one of two crops, sugarcane or sugar beet. Both contain the same sweet core called sucrose, but they grow in completely different environments. Sugarcane thrives in warm tropical regions, growing tall like bamboo stalks that are harvested by cutting close to the ground. Sugar beets, on the other hand, are root crops pulled from soil in cooler climates across Europe and parts of North America. Once harvested, these crops undergo different preparation processes. Sugarcane goes through shredding to break down the tough stalks, making juice extraction easier. The leftover fibers, called bagasse, aren't wasted. Factories often burn this material on site as a clean energy source to power their entire operation. They're thoroughly washed, then sliced into thin strips called cassettes, which are soaked in hot water to extract the sugar. The real magic begins with juice extraction. For sugarcane, heavy-duty rollers crush the stalks to squeeze out every precious drop of juice. Some modern factories use a method called diffusion, where shredded cane passes through warm water sprays to extract sugar without the crushing process. Beet factories handle extraction differently. The beet strips soak in hot water tanks, and sugar gradually leaches out, creating a thick, sweet liquid called raw juice. But this raw juice isn't clean. It's loaded with tiny plant particles, soil bits, and natural acids that need to be removed. Factories use a process called clarification, adding lime to the juice, which helps trap impurities. The mixture is heated, and unwanted materials either settle out or float up, depending on the system used. Some factories employ carbon dioxide in a step called carbonation, while others rely on phosphoric acid and lime in a process known as phosphotation. Both methods effectively clean the juice, resulting in a golden, much cleaner liquid ready for the next crucial stage. The goal now is removing as much water as possible using large industrial evaporators. These impressive multi-stage towers heat the juice gently under low pressure. Because it's done in a vacuum, the boiling point drops significantly, saving energy and protecting the delicate flavors. As juice moves through each stage, it becomes thicker and sweeter. By the final evaporator, it's transformed into a concentrated syrup with about 60 to 65% sugar concentration, with the remainder being mostly water and harmless leftover plant material. This syrup becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Its consistency, color, and taste directly influence how the final sugar will turn out. But before crystallization can begin, this syrup needs another transformation involving precise heat, pressure, and timing. Crystallization is where liquid transforms into actual sugar crystals. Factories use vacuum pans, large pressurized vessels that carefully heat syrup without burning it. As it boils, tiny sugar grains are added as seeds, acting as starters that help the remaining syrup form solid crystals around them. As crystals grow, the syrup thickens into masquite, a mixture of crystals and leftover liquid. When the consistency is perfect, this mixture moves into centrifuges, essentially giant spinning drums. They spin at incredible speeds to separate crystals from the remaining liquid, known as molasses. The first batch of crystals is usually the purest. Factories often repeat this process multiple times to extract additional sugar from leftover molasses. After spinning, crystals are briefly washed with steam or hot water to remove surface molasses, depending on the final sugar type being produced. At this point, raw sugar is ready, but for brown sugar, there's one critical decision: how much molasses should remain and how much should be added back later. This step defines everything about the final product. If factories want white sugar, raw crystals are washed, melted down, and put through a second purification round. The syrup returns through filters, decolorizers, and vacuum pans until only pure, dry, bright white sugar remains with virtually no molasses. Brown sugar takes a different path. In traditional mills, the process stops after first crystallization. Crystals keep their thin molasses coating, providing that characteristic soft texture and deep flavor. This is called unrefined brown sugar and retains natural minerals from the original cane. However, most commercial brown sugar follows a more controlled method. It starts as fully refined white sugar, then factory workers blend in specific molasses amounts, typically between 3 and 10% depending on whether it's light or dark brown sugar. This mixture is heated, stirred, and sometimes lightly spun to coat each crystal evenly. Whether unrefined or built from scratch, brown sugar's distinctive flavor and moisture come directly from that molasses layer. The final steps involve drying, cooling, and storage. Crystals move through large rotating dryers where warm air gently removes excess moisture without melting the molasses coating. This process is carefully controlled to keep sugar soft and slightly sticky without making it too wet or dry. After drying, cooling systems bring the temperature down to prevent condensation during storage. If sugar is packaged while warm, moisture can build up inside bags, causing lumps or spoilage. The cooled sugar moves into storage silos, massive bins holding tons of finished product, waiting for packaging. Depending on destination, Factories pack brown sugar into small sachets, 1 kilogram kitchen bags, or massive industrial sacks. Machines handle most operations, with conveyor belts feeding sugar into filling machines that weigh portions precisely before sealing. Consumer packages use plastic or paper bags with moisture barriers to maintain freshness. Heat sealing machines close them, then print labels with brand names, weights, nutrition information, and production dates. Commercial orders use 25 to 50 kilogram bags, while huge orders go into big bag containers holding up to a ton. Once sealed, robotic arms stack bags on pallets, which are shrink-wrapped and loaded onto delivery trucks. Throughout this entire process, quality checks happen continuously. Workers and sensors monitor seals, verify accurate weights, and confirm everything meets standards. This final step ensures consistency, whether brown sugar is heading to a bakery or supermarket shelf. From ancient Indian sugarcane fields to modern industrial facilities, brown sugar's journey represents thousands of years of human innovation. Those soft, golden crystals in your kitchen cabinet are the result of sophisticated processes involving multiple crops, complex machinery, and precise timing. The next time you reach for brown sugar, remember the incredible journey from raw plant material to the refined product that sweetens our favorite foods. Are you team brown sugar or do you stick with white? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating behind-the-scenes looks at how everyday products are made.